Hello and welcome. My name is Peace Mitchell and I'm co-founder of Women Changing the World Press. Before we begin, I would like to pay my respects to the traditional owners and elders of the land that I live and work on, the people of Mamu country in North Queensland. I would also like to pay my respects and acknowledge traditional owners and elders right across Australia and the Torres Strait. Well, we are here today to celebrate the launch of our new book, Begin It Now. And to help me celebrate, I have one of my fabulous co-authors joining me, Stella. Please join me in welcoming Stella.
Hello. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
It's wonderful to have you here, Stella. Now, for people who haven't met you before, I would love you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you and the work that you do.
Thank you. My name is Stella Olivia Kikoyo, and I am based in the UK. I'm a mother of three and married. I was born and raised in Uganda and moved in the UK as an adult. So the work that I do is best or mainly on women. First of all, I'm a senior lecturer in marketing and business here in the UK. I'm also a chartered marketer, and I help marketeers to really restructure their experiences and formulate strategies and campaigns that win. But I'm also the founder of the Stella Woman, the platform that helps women to rise into their purpose and lead and drive legacy driven lives and brands. I also help to, as a Stella Woman, we're a magazine and a podcast. So we help to spread thriving women's stories across the globe so that other women can tap into their stories and thrive. So that's mainly what I do. But I also help Street Business School, which is an organization that is supposed to be helping women who live below the poverty line to rise into generation wealth. So that's mainly what I do. It is really to raise women's consciousness for what is possible in them and for them. And I'm excited to be here today and the Begin It Now launch.
Incredible. You're doing such amazing work to elevate women across a whole range of different ways. So, Stella, your chapter was called From Silence to Shining. Can you tell us more about why you chose this title for your chapter?
Oh, thank you. Good question. So, because it was supposed to be Begin It Now, and looking at that title, I knew that my story was going to be very powerful for a woman like me, any woman who has really kept her voice, who has felt trapped, who has wanted to take action but couldn't take the action that they wanted to do. Anyone who felt that they were always not enough and couldn't really stand into their power to rise and live the dream life that they wanted to live. So I knew that my story, given that I lived this life almost all my life as a child and as an adult, I struggled to find my voice. I struggled to step into my power, and yet I had high desire to do so. So I wanted that woman who is quiet, who's struggling to step into that power, to use my story to elevate themselves and be able to take position to live their dream and shine their light. That is the reason why I was looking at that woman.
I love that. And your chapter starts with you talking about your childhood in Uganda. Can you tell us more about your childhood in those early years?
Thank you. Definitely my childhood. I was born as a first child, but um, uh, uh, incidences or situations actually changed after my mom's marriage. I moved into my grandma's house where I became actually the youngest child, and the rest of the children, or who would be the children in the house, were my uncles. So in my grandma's house, I was always with grandma, and we always did lots of things together, chose together. as well as braiding hair, singing, and taking tea. I take lots of tea because of my grandma. But in that house, actually, grandma, being how she was raised herself, is the way she was actually raising me. We were always quiet, seated on the mat, and all my uncles always took all the positions in the chair. And I felt that always the boys took I had the liberty, the freedom to be who they wanted to be. They would run out, they would play football, they would climb trees, and I always wanted to be that. But grandma always told me, no, girls don't do that. Girls don't run about, girls don't climb trees, girls don't ride bicycles. So I had lots of don'ts, and including speaking. In my grandma's house, children never spoke up, were never rarely could we be allowed to add anything in a conversation. You had to always just listen. So I quickly learned that my voice wasn't supposed to be used in rooms, especially where I thought that other people were always worthier. So everyone who was older than me, bigger than me, a man had a voice. And even adult women had voices and I didn't. So over time, I started to put everyone on a pedestal. Everyone somehow, in one way or another, could easily be the person who represented grandma's house where I wasn't allowed to speak. So my voice started to disappear and got trapped in my throat for a long time. So that's basically what it is about my childhood, really being at a point where you are raised by a grandma who is using her generation to raise you for the future woman that you're going to be. Other things turn around when grandma actually gets into international women's movement. And in that way, she started to see women differently. She started to be exposed differently. And in that time, things started to shift. Because one particular moment, grandma actually said something to do with, even if I studied hard, I would always come back to the kitchen. And that kitchen aspect really affected me. I wondered why, as a woman, I always had to come back to the kitchen. And I felt the kitchen was always going to be my trap as well.
Yeah, incredible. The kitchen represents so much of your story, doesn't it? Because your childhood, you were forced to, well, not forced to, but you were encouraged to be quiet and to do all the chores while your uncles and the other boys in the community were out playing and climbing trees and doing whatever they wanted. You talk about in your chapter the moment where everything changed for you and you realized that you didn't want to be silent anymore and that you did want to start using your voice. Can you tell us more about this moment and why it was so powerful for you?
Thank you. Thank you for that. It was a moment where I had actually realized that now I'm struggling to use my voice. I had got opportunities to lecture and use my voice. And in those opportunities, I worked hard to get to that point because I wanted really to take the position to lecture because I had used my classroom as a place where I could start using my voice, but I never got to use it. Every time I wanted to raise my hand to speak in class, somehow I couldn't. My throat would tighten, my heart would pound, and I would always promise myself, maybe I'll try next time. And for some reason, I spent 3 years of of undergraduate not speaking up, but having high desire to do so. So when I was taken to lecturing at the university, where I was actually a student, being given that opportunity, I had to raise myself, work hard, and really start to use my voice. And what I realized is I had to change the context. I had now to make myself understand that I could do this. But in that, it didn't change what was happening in staff meetings. I realized that all the opportunities to speak in staff meetings, I never capitalized on them. Still, I was putting people on the pedestal. And when I moved to the UK, I got into the same situation. I was allowed to lecture, and still I took on the classes. And initially, I thought I couldn't because everyone was on the pedestal. I wondered how I would lecture to students who are all white. And with that, I had to work hard and progress. But in the staff room, my throat always tightened until one particular moment where I had already talked to a friend about an idea before the staff meeting. And when this situation was called upon for us to actually have moments to exchange ideas and brainstorm, I failed to do so. And in that moment, someone else got the applause who shared exactly my ideas. And as I moved out and went in the corridor, I asked myself, when will this stop? When will this stop? And the issue is, I had a friend who knew that I had the idea and it was my moment to step up. And this friend put me aside and asked me, why didn't you actually speak up? Why? And in that moment, I realized that I was losing. And I made a vow. I told myself, next time I will actually speak up. And because that moment, the way he asked me and he told me, you will never get anywhere unless you speak up. So that moment became a shift. Although it was seemed to be quiet because I had missed out, it actually did something in my head in terms of creating a vow to myself that next time I'll actually speak up. But I had always promised myself next time. So this particular moment had to be the moment that had to shift. Although I actually go ahead and go to another conference where there are chartered marketers, and still they were brainstorming for these ideas. And each moment passed, the whole meeting was going towards the end. And I realized my ideas hadn't been shared. And when I realized that my ideas hadn't been shared, there was still tightness in my throat. I wanted to speak, but I couldn't. I was shaking the whole time, looking at everyone as really the best. And I was wondering, why is it that they're not sharing these ideas? They must be the simplest ideas, but maybe they are not worthy ideas at the end of the day. But because I had made a vow that I will speak up, when the bell went, that to end the brainstorming, I had to raise my hand and I quickly said, hey, can I say something? And in that moment, I busted out all my ideas, the two ideas I had. And those ideas were the best ideas of the conference and for the Chartered Institute of Marketing. And they said, and everyone on my table, in my brainstorming table, looked at me. And that moment was a shining moment, but also a moment to go inside to really see what is it that is. It took me so long to even speak up at that point after my vow. Yes. Thank you.
That's so powerful. And I think it's a great reminder for all of us that we've got all of the ideas and everything we need inside us. We just have to find that courage to just speak up and use our voice. Now, Stella, you talk about the importance of alignment in your chapter. Can you tell us more about what alignment means for you and how it guides you in your life and your business and the work that you do?
Thank you very much. That's a good question. Um, Alignment is key, and to me, it has become the foundation of rising to become the person that I am called to be. After understanding that I could speak and people could listen to me, after looking at reflecting on my life, I realized that I was already called and I am gifted and I have everything. And aligning to that truth, understanding that there is truth that I am and I am able to become. So it became important for me to start to make shifts and align to all the truth including my values, including the work they do, and mainly including to the seed that I can be. So alignment becomes for me, that key aspect where you you shift the mind and shift it towards what is truth. And when you do that, you start to move easily into embodying the truth. So alignment has to be the first, because there's truth in yourself and you do know that truth. So every woman that I coach or people I teach or meet here and there, I'll ask them to really, where there is a struggle, where there is resistance, is most likely a need, and most of the time is a calling to align back to your truth, whatever it is that is true to you, because there's sometimes a tendency to become other people, to try to imitate others and to follow whatever everyone is saying. And in that tendency, we lose ourselves and there's a big shift. And over time, that resistance breaks us down. It brings frustration. And at the end of the day, it drains us of the power. So you have to actually go back and realign. And in that way, you get new energy that is unstoppable, that takes you to a greater level. But mostly it is because you align to the truth about you. Whatever it is that is true to you is the key aspects in terms of alignment, and then embodying that truth to move forward to becoming the woman that you're called to be, or a stellar woman, and a woman who changes the world.
Oh, I love that so much. That's really powerful, Stella. Well, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for sharing your chapter in Begin It Now. And thank you so much for sharing all of your stories with us.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to really share my story with Begin It Now, other co-authors, and with Women Changing the World. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who has tuned in today. You can grab your copy of Begin It Now at Women Changing the World Press. That's wcwpress.com. Well, thanks again, Stella. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We will see you all again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. 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 Bye.